Hey everyone, and welcome to Fascination Street with Jimmy, Sarah, and Mika. Now, obviously, as you can see, it's Mika and Sarah. You need to turn the volume down.
Yeah, down. My muck up.
It's Mika and Sarah.
Hi.
Jimmy is stuck out in the channel because it's the first weekend of the school holidays. Dover becomes gridlocked with people going on their holidays. So he is currently stuck in France at the moment. They're on a 3 to 4 hour delay, so we don't expect him back by the end of the show, unfortunately. But he will try and watch where he can and nip into the chat in between serving all those lovely people that are in Club Lounge. So that's where he is today. So I should be saying that he's going to be watching where he can, really, should I? But never mind, I've done it now. So, how's your week at school been?
Oh, week at school. Don't say that word.
All right.
Because guess what?
What?
I haven't been at school. You mean I'm not going to be at school for 6 weeks. So how was my week instead of school?
Well, you should have been at school Monday and Tuesday.
Yeah. We'll explain that in a minute.
Didn't bother going, did you?
Nah,
No.
couldn't be bothered.
Couldn't be bothered. Don't blame you.
It was only 2 days. Couldn't be bothered.
Couldn't be bothered.
Nah.
Weren't here anyway, were we? No. Okay, well, that got that covered. So,
Hey.
shall we see who we've got on as guests?
I want to know.
Do you?
Yeah.
Can you not see them?
Who's
that?
Oh, yeah.
We lived with them.
Yeah.
We got cuddles from them.
Really?
Yeah.
It's the people we lived with for 5 days.
Do we know you?
Well, it depends. Are we strangers now?
No. Family forever.
Family forever.
Family forever.
All right.
Anyway. Right, what do we want to start off with?
I think we should start off with
Awakening?
seeing as that was first on our list.
Ooh, who
I'm
wants
awake.
to
It's all right, I'm awake. Oh, you mean awakening? Oh, that's right.
So who wants to go first? Anyone want to go with
Well,
Awakening first?
I think
There you
firstly we should say how fabulous Awakening was.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah, we had a great time, especially being with you guys.
And it was amazing. And we were treated like stars, weren't we? All of us.
Indeed.
Yes, indeed. We all were.
VIP guests the whole way.
Yeah.
Just to let you know, VIP is a very important person.
And you...
We were treated like VIP. So very, 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 very important person.
And you were the only child there on the Friday night on the meet and greet, weren't you?
Yep.
Yes.
Me.
There were lots of children there on the Saturday, but not on the meet and greet.
But
the night before.
I'm still the youngest ufologist.
You are. You are.
No, I want to keep that.
Just so you know, Jimmy's just popped into the chat and said hi to everyone. So
Hi, Dad.
he's probably got 5 milliseconds to jump in and say hi.
Yes.
And Mum's here.
Yeah.
Yay!
So,
Hey,
yeah.
Daddy!
Black eyes, please.
Black Eyed Peas.
I don't know what he means.
Well, Black Eyed Peas, obviously, the band, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. On to the next one.
Yeah.
Dad and his bad jokes.
We just want to say before we get into Awakening that we absolutely loved meeting you guys, and especially Mum and Dad, and the couple of days that we had with you guys before we took off to Manchester. We really, really enjoyed, and we really are blessed to have got the chance to get over and see you guys. So, yeah, we had
we loved meeting you and giving you squishes and cuddles, and it was amazing. And to actually get to be able to spend so much time with you, with living with you as well. While we were there Awakening before we moved on to the next part of our adventure. You know, those 3 days that we were with each other for 24/7.
Yeah.
It was awesome. And it was just like we just got straight into a routine like that. It was like it was just so natural.
True.
And also, it was just nice the fact that we weren't just sitting around. We were on the road, and I loved it.
Yeah, it was
just
beautiful.
on the road, and then I'm in the back, and it gives me more time to do stuff. Well, no, I couldn't because, of course, there was 2 cases in the back. So I had the tiniest space there to plug seatbelt in, and that's all to me. So I had like, me and Mum together. That's how much room I had, and that's it.
I remember. But how cool was it? We had walkie-talkies for the drive when we got up to Manchester. So we were talking from car to car and communicating with walkie-talkies, which was really cool.
Yeah, didn't they go far?
Yeah, they were great. So
even if we lost you a couple of cars in front, we could still speak to you and we'd, where have you gone? We've lost you. We lost visual. Because you were the one that had the Google map going, so we were just tailing you.
Yeah. Yeah, you were relying on us, so it was good. We managed to get to Manchester without too much hassle, even though it took us a bit of a while. But yeah, so and then we got to Manchester and we had to, make new arrangements for our stay, but that was all right. So, but then we got to Awakening on Thursday. Oh, was it Thursday? No, we got Friday night, wasn't it?
Friday night, Thursday for travelling.
That's right. So. Yeah, I think it took off right from the start, didn't it? So we got to Awakening and we started seeing people like Heidi, and then we got in the door, and who did we see? Mika? Who was
Richard.
the first?
It was just Richard Dolan standing there, and then he just starts talking to us. And obviously, like Mum and Dad, they normally get nervous. They're just like, and I'm just like, hi, nice to meet you. My name's Mika, yeah.
Well, you'd actually gone in, and Daddy had actually spoke to him outside because Daddy had done a bit of artwork for him and Tracy, and that was his opener to him.
Yeah.
Oh, you probably don't know who I am, but I sent you, some artwork that I done of you and Tracy, and that was the opener, and that was that. And from then on, it was just like, wow.
Well, we had already come inside, so we missed that little conversation. And then Lizzie and I were standing there waiting for you. And then I turned around and I saw Tracy and Richard, and I said, look, there's Tracy and Richard. And Lizzie's like, where? And she must have heard me, and she turned around and they walked straight over. And within like 30 seconds, I said, introduced ourselves, and Richard's like, do I know you? Like, have I met you before? I'm like, no, I'm from Australia. And then you guys walked in, and then we spent the next 10 minutes talking to him, and a couple of people sort of accosted Richard for a minute or two, and he came back, and then Tracy went over and talked to a couple of people, but they kept coming back to us and talking to us, and they were supposed to be signing by then they were supposed to be in at their booth signing the books and that and taking photos, and of course we kept them busy for like the first 15 minutes.
Oh well.
And a few photos. Our first couple of photos, didn't we, all together?
Yeah, that photo.
Well, they can wait. They can wait for their autograph. I ain't waiting for nothing.
Well, that wasn't the only time people were waiting, but that photo was definitely our favourite of the night. So
it was magic.
But then what happened after? Who was? I can't remember who was talking first. We watched someone talk, and then we went out to line up to get our signatures from Tracy and Richard and our photo, which we got a photo with both of them, just the 4 of us. And there was a whole line of people waiting at Linda Moulton Hale's desk, and she was not there. And I wonder why.
Really? No, it was her. No, it was Mummy.
I've got photos to prove that. It was you talking to her.
No, you haven't. Where's the proof then? Go on, show the proof.
I can't, it's on that phone.
Oh, well, then you can't show any proof then.
I've got video, I've got photo evidence of Mum standing there videoing and photographing you talking to Linda Moulton Hale.
No, it was her. It was her.
And there's Heidi behind saying, I really need to get her away. I really need to take her. And Linda's not having none of it. She's like, no, I'm talking to him at the moment. And she just went straight back to the conversation.
What was really funny was when you look in the photo, like she's barely in
Hey, Heidi.
Hi, Heidi.
Where?
And Lisa's here.
And Lisa. Hi.
Is that Lisa that with the skulls? I always forget because she's got so many different names.
Lisa Helbin.
Oh.
I thought Lisa was this.
Oh yeah, that's right. I'm terrible with names. I apologize. No, but yeah, it was funny because there was a whole line of people lining up for Linda, and because there was only a short period in between the talks that they were allowing people to sign at that point that night, and so and then did Richard do a talk? I think Richard talked, didn't he? He did. He did a little bit of a
They all
talk.
did a little talk that night, didn't they?
Yeah.
But it was a bit more laid back than what the Saturday was.
Yeah, well, there was only, I reckon there was only about 100 people at the VIP
That's right.
event. But, I'll be back in a second. Just hold your own there. Where is it? Where is it? So I've got, and I've got some evidence of the night of my little antics because we have a friend named Stacey who thinks her paper plate is the best thing in the world.
Never happened. Oh.
Uncle Dex got Linda Martin Hale's coffee cup.
Here's the bit.
Look, it's got lipstick on.
Yes.
And I got her to sign it. I ran up and the coffee cup was sitting under her and I'd watched her sit there and drink from it. And I'm like, what am I going to do? I've got to get this signature. And I saw the coffee cup. And so when she got up, someone came up and started talking to her. So I ran over, grabbed the coffee and said, I'll take care of this for you, Linda. You finish this. Ran off to the bar, asked for a plastic cup, poured the coffee in there, ran back and then said to her, look, I've got a friend named Stacey and Kelly and Jimmy Church. And we've seen the video of you signing the paper plate. And I told Stacey I was going to get your signature on something that you had. And that's it right there. You can see the signature right there. So,
yeah. And it's got the lipstick. And it's still got evidence of the coffee inside.
Yes. Yes. So it's definitely used by Linda Moulton Howe. And I've got it wrapped up in my tracksuit pants so that we can get it home without splitting the foam. So it's going to go on the mantelpiece as a very special momentum of that night that we shared together. So
we're releasing you, Stacey. It's something we can use.
See, I went on Jimmy Church yesterday and gave you guys a shout out and give a quick rundown of what we've been doing.
I heard that this morning.
Did you? Yeah, you like that?
This morning.
But I didn't tell anyone about the cup because I was saving it for the show. So
Brilliant.
Yeah.
See you dive underneath that chair. Wow.
So the first night was pretty good, but I reckon second day was just as good, really, because we had all day, didn't we?
Oh, the whole day there was just fabulous, wasn't it?
It was awesome, and all the stalls and that they had, and all the props and the Area 51 and the ET and the Star Wars, and there was a whole group of guys dressed up as Star Wars. I didn't even make it upstairs. Luckily, someone did a video of them interviewing some people. Otherwise, I wouldn't have seen upstairs.
Yeah, that was when we didn't get to one of the talks, was it? We didn't get to Moulton Howe.
I think. Was it Linda?
We got accosted by Tracy on the way to come and watch Linda.
Right. Yeah,
we got accosted by Tracy, and she said, if you want that interview, I suggest you get upstairs now, and I will be up there within 10 minutes.
Yeah, Uncle Dex was
say please.
Uncle Dex was a bit upset.
We knew exactly what she meant, and we knew we had to hop it up them stairs quick.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it wouldn't be happening because somebody else was waiting for an interview as well, weren't they?
Right.
I really wonder who interviewed those blokes. I wonder who the blokes were.
And who's already got over 1,500 views.
Wow.
Is it up that high already?
That's me.
Oh, mate, we were so proud of you. I was upset that he didn't get to be there in person because I was so looking forward to that interview. But we were downstairs listening to Linda, which was really good. not really watched much of Linda. I've listened to her talk on Fade to Black and that, but I've not read any of her books. I've not read of any of Richard's books, but after meeting them in person and getting the sort of measure of those their souls and their personality, I'd love to spend some time reading their work now. And the other person that I really thought was an amazing person who you also interviewed was Grant Cameron. He was just really down to earth. I had that night.
He was a paying customer. Did you know that?
Yeah, I did actually.
He wasn't actually a guest.
No, yeah.
Guest speaker. He was actually a paying guest.
Yeah, he chose just to fly out and be a part of on his own accord. So yeah. So but what was I going to say? Who was the other person that I can't remember now? Oh yeah, and of course when we walked in after we talked to Richard that first night, Lizzie and I forgot, didn't we, that we have a friend that we met in January, Alexis Brooks, who Jimmy Church personally told me that I needed to go and introduce myself to, which I did, and then spent the next 3 days talking with her avidly, both of us, at our conference that we went to in January. And of course, we walked in the room and forgot that she was hosting. Well, I didn't forget. I actually looked up on the Awakening site and looked for her name. I couldn't find her name anywhere, and I just thought maybe she'd turned the job down or something. Because we walk in the room and she's sitting there with David Adair, and she screams, "Ah!" And we scream, "Ah!" So that was awesome. So yeah, we had so many great people, and you got your interview, and then we went to the after party, didn't we?
That was really select there, wasn't it? I mean, there was what, maybe 25, 30 of us?
Probably not even that, because
Not
most of them were the actual people that spoke. Linda was there, Richard, Grant, Tracy, David. What's the other? The guy from Ancient Aliens, is it?
Mike Barra?
Yeah, he was there, but there was another one named David. Oh, my name's terrible with names. But all the speakers were there because they were all staying at the hotel. But it was lucky because Alexis invited us all back, didn't she? So
she did.
We got a personal invite.
Also about it was when we went in there, it was just, it was very nice and calm outside. And then you just see everyone like sitting at a table, and then like I go up to Tracy with Richard as well, and they're just drinking wine.
It's a pub. What do you expect?
Water?
Not for adults when they've just gone through that over 2 days. They need a glass or two of wine.
Orange juice?
No.
Blackcurrant?
No.
Just few more people in chat. We've got Mark Tarana. Hey, Mark. And Jiggy from Paranormal Hood. Shout out to you.
Hey, guys.
And Mark and John have just said David Childress was the name.
That's it.
Yeah.
David Childress. Thank you.
So, and it was quite funny because he came up to us and he sort of went, it was Michael that was running the Awakening, and he walked up to us and sort of went, "Where's Michael?" And I'm like, "Okay, which Michael do you want?" And he sort of like, "Oh, you don't know who I'm talking about." And I went, "Oh, you mean the guy running the place, running the show? He's the guy talking to Alexis over there." And he sort of went, "Oh," and then walked over there to go and talk to Michael. It was just funny because I acted a bit like, "Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about," but I knew exactly what he meant. So
yeah, but we all know him as Mike.
Yeah, exactly.
Michael.
That's why I said, "You mean Mike?" And he's sort of like, "Oh, but yeah." So,
but I also really enjoyed about Manchester is I got one of the two best gifts in the world. Awakening merch, Richard Doland, and one of the most treasured stuff I ever need. Crystals. Boom. Yeah. That's my Manchester done.
Yeah, I think Mika took home about half the crystals that were on sale at Awakening.
Maybe 3/4.
And one huge piece
Can I show them?
Amethyst.
Oh, get the amethyst out. Come on.
Yes.
Well, you know where they are, don't you?
No.
They're upstairs.
Oh,
Bag upstairs. What?
Big one.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, I see what you're pointing at.
Yeah.
This is the little crystal skull that I got. I don't. Oh, Lizzie, you got yours?
No, I didn't. I couldn't find it.
This is there was about 8 or 9 crystal skulls there that we. Oh, there was a few other little ones, but I was looking at them and I was looked at all 8 of them and I didn't know I liked this one, but I liked a couple of others and I touched this one and he instantly said Jeff, and I was like, really, Jeff? Are you serious? And so I looked at the others and I touched him again and he went, Jeff. And I went, okay, I'm taking you home, Jeff. But, hopefully, it is Jeff. I don't know. But
Of all the names.
of all the names, I know, it's funny because I remember Mika talking about, is it Jeff the alien or Jeff is there something named Jeff?
Yes,
Well,
there is.
Yeah. And I've heard Mika talking about it. And I was like, maybe it was just me subconsciously projecting onto the crystal, but then the second time it was definitely Jeff. So that's my first crystal skull there. So he's been traveling with us since, so it's been good. All right, show us this crystal.
This is one massive crystal and it takes so much charge in it.
This is my favorite.
Yeah. It's a beauty.
Pull it back a bit. There we go. Look at that. Love my.
I was with Liz, wasn't I?
Yep.
And there was actually one of the crystals. And what happened was it was called the Adventurous. And what happened is I got a shock up.
The adventuring, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I got a shock up my arm and it really scared me.
I forgot that.
Yeah, it went up my arm. Hang on, let me see.
He says that amethyst is his birthstone.
Hey, Heidi. Mika, did you see the pic of you on my knee? Finally got me my F2B hat from Jimmy.
Yeah.
Who, me? Did I get her?
Yeah, you sat on Heidi's lap and had a photo done. And that's
You're welcome, Heidi, my darling.
and that's what got her F2B hat.
Yeah, Jimmy Church was actually surprised that Heidi hadn't got any merch yet. So I think your dad hit him up and said, "Come on, Mr. Church," and so there was a bit of encouragement there because she really was repping the show and definitely one of the original Fadenauts there at Awakening. So it was great to meet you, Heidi, and yeah, definitely. So glad you got a hat.
This is the crystal that gave the shock up my arm.
Oh, yes. What's it called?
Adventuring.
I'm hoping.
And that was just that last bit where it just goes, and then it gives you a shock up your arm. That is the same as my little crystal. I have that big one there.
Yep.
Nice.
Oh yeah, look at that.
He just liked all the different crystals and ended up.
Can't remember what this one's called.
Pull it back a bit.
Oh, nice.
But then I just got really nice, glittery ones.
So sunstone.
You got some really good ones. Oh, I love that one.
Sunstone. Nice.
So then I remember what this one is. It's the same one, but it's called Green Goldstone.
I only bought one other crystal. What's this again? Just talk.
The black tourmaline, isn't it?
To a black tourmaline. So that's my
favorite. Oh,
wow.
Oh, no, is it Shungite? Yeah, I think it's Shungite. I can't remember. I'm terrible with crystals. It spoke to me anyway. So
I can't remember this one, but it is see-through.
Yeah, that's nice. Okay, we've had one question, and I think I'll let Mika answer this first. It is Tracy as nice as she seems? From Lisa.
I have got to say, she really is. You might think, oh, she's a celebrity. She won't have time. She always does. Even with Richard has a lot of time for me. He's like he's like a really big friend of mine, I've got to say. And it's with Tracy as well, because when I was sitting with her at the hotel, Dad walked up and said, "Oh, would you like me to take him away if he's getting too much?" And she said, "No, he'll come to you when he's ready." And then I'm sitting there because I was really tired that night. But then I was just sitting there for 2 hours, just talking to her and Richard.
Yes, you were. I remember
It-
because I mean, meeting Tracy was really, and Richard, they were just genuine people. They were lovely people. You guys watched her talk at the beginning on the Saturday, didn't we? We all went and watched her, and that was really good listening to her talk about remote viewing. And I'm actually very interested in it because, when she was giving the talk and she was showing the pictures, I actually got a couple of those things that she was the Colosseum and that. Like I really feel like I could get into this remote viewing. But then, like he was saying at the after party, I remember we went out for a smoke and we came back in and there was Mika talking to Tracy and Richard was over there and Grant was over there. So I went over and I hung out and I literally just listened to him for like half an hour talking to Tracy, holding his own with a couple of other adults talking to him. And then I got dragged into a conversation with Grant Cameron and I spent about another 20 minutes talking to him and a couple of other guys. And then I ended up getting around Grant and around on the other side to speak to Richard, and Mika's still going, talking to Tracy and holding an audience. But they were lovely people. So, yeah, it was great to meet them. Oh, Sheree's in the chat now. Hi, Sheree. So,
what did you think about, what was the question again?
About what is Tracy as nice as
What do you think about it, Liz?
What's that?
Tracy?
About
Tracy.
Tracy?
Absolutely beautiful, beautiful, warm woman.
She's such a beautiful
Both
soul.
of them were very beautiful, open people, I felt, and they were just so welcoming to, open to talk and absolutely brilliant.
What do you think about it, Mum?
Yeah, I think she's great. She's up for babysitting duties as well, which is a bonus.
yeah.
Great for me.
Woohoo!
No, it was really good. Just getting that one-on-one with them, just a personal time with them afterwards, and
in their own setting as well, not having to play up being themselves, and you saw no different.
No, and it was good because it's funny because I had a bit of a thing about something that Grant Cameron had said about the 5 messiahs, like in the UFO world, and it was really funny because that's the one thing that I've always not gelled with when I've listened to his stuff, and that was something that he brought up, so we actually got to discuss it. And then it was good because I had a personal one-on-one with Richard, and I asked him a few things and things that I won't talk about on here and or to anyone because that was just a personal conversation between me and Richard. But just that genuine like energy, and they were just all 3 of those people. They were genuine people. Really enjoyed the time that we got to spend with them. We were very lucky and blessed. So, Mark's asked a couple of questions, but we'll push them back because we have a bit of an order. We're going to talk about this because he's asking about the crop circles. So
yeah,
but I don't know. And Mum said something. No, she's not. That's Nana's job. Well, I don't know what we missed that. So, the babysitter. That's what she's talking about.
that's right. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. We can't take that away from you, Mum.
No. Okay, come on. Get that. If you want to show it, get it over in now. Otherwise, we go on to the next part.
Took me like 2 minutes to get out.
Oh, look, yeah, this is the
The only person
Hold
that
on.
came away
Wait.
with anything like this was this child here.
No, it wasn't me. Wasn't
Yeah,
me.
look, I didn't realize you got the whole banner. Like, oh wow.
Yeah, that's cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a bit big for the camera, but that people is the banner that was behind Richard while he was signing everything, and he's personally signed it to Mika and given it to Mika. So that was one of the big highlights that we could say that Mika had.
There it is.
There it is.
Hey.
Yeah, to Mika from Richard. Isn't that great?
Can we see it on the camera?
Yeah, we can.
There it is.
But this poster is very special.
There we go. Right.
All right, so that's that's awakening, because I think people are itching at the bit to find out about the next part of our adventure. Although we must say that we did one of the crop circles before we went to awakening, didn't we? So,
we did, but we're going to talk about all the crop circles together.
Yeah.
So we're going to go on to Stonehenge now, seeing as that was the next part of our journey.
Yeah.
Okay, so Stonehenge, what are your thoughts?
I don't know. It was, a couple of people had said to me that the Avery stones were more energy than Stonehenge, and I think we all experienced that when we went to Avery, didn't we? Because Stonehenge, we couldn't touch the stones, and they went to get into the stones is like 3 or 4 months. It's booked out to January, I think they said.
That's right.
Evening trip. So, I mean, we were going to try and sneak in that night, but we had a fairly big night and we had to get up early, all of us, to get back to Dover. But I reckon Stonehenge, there's some very interesting historical energy there, but it's not all positive, maybe. Do you think?
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
But I expected it to be like this eerie feeling. I didn't really get the eeriness.
No.
I didn't really feel that.
But there was all the mounds, the burial mounds around there, and
more energy from the other stones, definitely.
But it was a bit sort of touristy, wasn't it? Because it wasn't the same experience that we had with other things, because there were so many people there, but it was, I mean, like, it's a bucket list thing, I've always wanted to go to Stonehenge, but I really would have liked to have been able to go up and touch the stones and read the energy myself. But just we did cram so much into our week. So how mad it was madness trying to get on up there, wasn't it? The roads were chockers because there was so many people.
It was supposed to take 5 hours, but it took 10.
Yeah.
That's all right. Up there.
We had to do, what was it? Was it 4 stops we done?
No, it's 3.
Was it 3?
On the way up, yeah.
And then for us to get to Stonehenge, we done 3 stops.
Oh, we didn't.
Did we not?
We did no stops.
Oh yes, we did.
Can't
do that in one. Not even Uncle Dexter and Auntie Liz done no stops. They done 1. Yeah.
Yeah, we only stopped once because we went up to Bradford after Awakening. When you guys left, we went up to Bradford to see a friend of ours that we've met online, one of our spiritual friends, and then we drove from Bradford all the way down to Stonehenge. I think we only stopped once, and then I tried to make up the time to get there, so that we got there before dark and got into our little, because we stayed in separate places, didn't we? But we caught up the next morning, and we went to Stonehenge that day. But that day was a very eventful day, wasn't it? Because we got to do a couple of things that we weren't expecting to, and that was the crop circles. So
that was amazing. Yeah.
So shall we move on to crop circles? Because I think people are...
I think we should. Yeah, I think Stonehenge, it didn't fascinate us as much as I thought it would do. Like you say, I think a lot of it was the fact that we couldn't actually feel the stones.
Yeah.
Whereas when we went to Avery, we could, and we could feel the energy through them.
What about you, Mika? What did you think?
I think about what? Give me a start and I'll do it.
That one?
Go on.
That'll do. Yeah, that'll do. Mark asked a question about Stonehenge. I'm going to skip the questions just so that we can keep it in line. He said, he's put it, my mother felt sick in one of the Stonehenge ditches.
Oh,
so that's interesting. Yeah, because there was a large ditch all the way around the stones that you could sit in, and there was a little section. Lizzie and I, we all sat down, and I got the drone out and I put the drone up in the air just so I could get a bit of a aerial shot of the I've got to actually edit that so that I can put some of the I can take photos of it from the video footage, because I wanted to get it from up above, because it actually looked a lot better. I didn't know it was good. So
there was one thing that people didn't really realise. You know those ditches that were like going up and then down? So like those ones that were near the stones.
Yeah.
Should I say it?
Yep.
That was actually where people were buried.
Yep. They're burial
Yeah,
mounds.
they're
So basically, people didn't realise, but they're stepping on people.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's like
So-
walking through a graveyard, isn't it?
Yeah, but you've got to show a bit of respect. If you don't know what that is, then that's okay. But if you do know what it is, show some respect.
Speaking of graveyards, we went to the memorial place in Paris and saw Jim Morrison's grave today. So and Oscar Wilde. So that was interesting. I've been there before, but I had to take Lizzie. I thought I'd just throw that in. That's been a part of our little trip while we've been over here. We'll get to that later.
So are we going on to crop circles now?
I think we should.
are.
Okay.
We are.
Should we
No,
talk?
no,
Okay.
Straight up.
Okay, let me go back to my
Okay.
other screen because
I am actually always wanting to say something. That's actually really
hang on, let me
exciting.
find. So the first one that we went to, let me see if I can actually do this,
It was the ant one.
was this one.
Ah, well done. Okay, there you go, people. So
Yep.
that's the ant crop
I'm sure I've got
circle.
information, but-
Now,
Wait, that
just
was
so
an ad?
you're aware that I have taken these off of the internet. I haven't taken them from obviously your pictures because I wanted to make sure I got overhead so people could see exactly what they were. Because obviously different angles, you didn't quite see as much information as what you would from.
Can I do that?
That's right.
So
Because we actually went and seen this crop circle on the way out to see you guys on the Tuesday,
that's right.
and we sussed it out, scoped out the place, and found a place that we could park off the road there, which was a bit havoc when we first did it. But when we went, it rained, didn't it? So we had a bit of mud and wetness. We've parked your car down at the Starbucks and then drove up, and we got in there. And you got in there quite easily, so
It weren't too bad. The crutches got stuck a couple of times, but other than that, I was quite surprised. But yeah, we got back to the car sodden, didn't we? Because we were all in flip-flops
Yeah.
or
No.
day shoes, so they weren't exactly like trainers or wellies or anything like that. So
You had his trainers on, didn't you, Mika?
yeah.
You knew Adidas.
Yeah, I think
brand new trainers.
Yeah.
and I think they're ruined.
No, they're not. They're fine.
Well,
That
They're
cleaned
They're
up.
fine.
I've got to say, I think it was like most of the time where like I've only just woken up and like everyone's outside. I've gone out in my sandals and just like, oh, what's going on here? And then I just look like an absolute div because I'm outside, like outside of the flat, and I'm wearing sandals. Like when it's freezing cold in the morning, and I'm just wearing sandals.
It wasn't cold.
It wasn't too bad. We thought it was pretty warm while we were over there. It's been hotter over
Yeah.
here, but yeah. Mark's asked
been
what
hotter
the
since,
energy was
yeah.
like at Stonehenge and the crop circle. So we talked about Stonehenge, but basically when we first walked into the ant crop circle, when we first went there before we took you guys, it was a warm day, and I wasn't quite sure where it was. I thought it was off one direction. Lizzie's saying no, it's over here, and I was like no, and then we realized that Lizzie was right, which I won't say that very often, but
It's recorded. Look, it's
We've got it on camera though. We got it on camera.
Yes.
damn it. No, we walked within about 100 meters of where the crop circle was, and the energy just shifted. It was amazing. Like, because it was about 27, it was warm. As soon as we walked within this area, and obviously we were in some sort of vortex energy area, and we just felt it. I walked in, I went, oh, did you feel that? And Liz is like, yep. And the whole time we were in the crop circle when we found it, it was cool. There was no breeze. Like, it wasn't cold, but it was cool. It wasn't the heat. And we walked all around the circle. We laid down in it for a bit and took some photos. And then as soon as we walked past that same point, it just went back to being warm again. And you guys experienced exactly the same thing when we took you, didn't you?
Well, considering it was drizzling when we got actually into the field, once we got actually into the crop circle itself, it didn't feel as wet.
No.
The wind had completely dropped off.
Yep.
There was no wind whatsoever. And then it was a case of, like, when we got out again, everything started up again.
Yeah.
And it's like you said, it was like a vortex.
Yeah.
Now, that one, well, all of them, you know, we could say the same about all of them, because to try and decipher whether they were real or fake. Ant crop circle, real or fake?
Well, look, it's definitely real for us.
I think it's real.
Yeah.
Well, you can't make that
Just
up.
the energy alone.
Exactly.
Look, as much as people can do some amazing art, and if you had a team of people, you know, you could possibly pull off something similar. But you look at even when you just look at it from above, the symmetric, like the legs, the antenna, the legs, they're all perfect. And when you're standing in that crop circle, especially when you're standing in the circles in the middle, you can't see anything. You can't see anything, and you can't. There would be no way from the ground. You know, like, you can make circles with a board and string. I get that. That's like, you can make it look like a great circle. But how do you do the legs? How do you do that outline and all that? You know, without it looking a little bit
Wow.
Yeah.
And the other thing that we witnessed this in all three that we actually saw, was the way that the wheat was bent down. It wasn't all flat in one direction. It was crisscrossed in between each other, and it was in a pattern, and there was no join. So when you went into the circle and you could see it going around, and I've took some photos and I've put them on Facebook so you can see, and you can look at it, there is no join. There's no point where they would have started and finished, and it all meshes together. And when you look at it from above, you can see there's these square and patterns, like, and they're all even, you know. So it looks like it's all been done at once, like bang, you know, like some energies just pushed it all down in a very specific pattern, in a very specific way. And you get that feel when you're inside the crop circle. I mean, this was our first crop circle. It was your first crop circle. And we were very lucky to get to see it, because it was nearly 2 months old. And when we got to Dover, and Johnny asked if we got to see the castle, I'll just say no, we didn't get to go up to the castle. We got a few photos from a distance, but next time we come to visit, we're going to do the castle. But anyway, when we knew that we were going to be able to pass that crop circle again on the way back up to Manchester, we put it to you guys, do you want to go? And so we went ourselves a little cheap drone, and because I really wanted to get some aerial shots of us, like, so you could actually see the crop circle, not just the photos that we took from the ground. And we were lucky to be able to get a drone, and it was not too hard to learn to fly that night. And I got it up in the air in the ant, and we got some actually really good photos of us standing in the ant. So I was really, really happy about that. And it was right there and then I decided I was going to be a crop circle chaser, and I was going to see as many crop circles as I can. And so we were very lucky to see that one. And of course, when we went to Stonehenge, I tracked down the cube. And so I was managed to find that on Google Maps. And so before we went to Stonehenge, we went and saw that one. Now, just trying to think. Yeah, there it is. So where did we park? Where did we have to park for that one? I can't even remember now.
Was that? Hang on, which one was
Okay,
that? Was
that
that
one-
the last
That's
one?
the
No,
second one.
that
That's the second one.
is, that's at Fully Wood.
That's right. That's the one where we tried to park in the place across the road, and the woman said yes, and then the guy came out and
we just had to move
That's the one.
kicked us
And
out.
we ended up abandoning the car a little way up, didn't we?
Yeah, well, Uncle Dex decided that he was just going to send the drone up and see if I could find it, and we did actually get a bit lost in the field, didn't we? We missed it by about 3 or 4 tracks, and then we had to backtrack and go back, and I had to sort of get my bearings and find the trees that
Maybe
it lined up
one
with.
or two.
But that one was big. I thought that was big, but apparently that's not as big as some of the ones that have happened before. So, and you know, it's really funny. Uncle Dex just saw triangles. Like, for the whole time I was looking at that one, I saw triangles. And it wasn't until we met up with Tracy Ash, that she's going, the cube. I'm going, what cube? And then I looked at it again, and I realized it's a cube. It's a 3D.
So cool,
It's
yeah.
a 3D cube.
Yeah. And the strange thing is that so many come up around Wiltshire, Hampshire,
Area,
all
yeah.
those areas. I
Yeah,
mean,
well,
yes, they're all across the world, but wow, I mean, in Surrey alone, we got quite a few.
that one says 16th. Yeah. So when we went, when did we go? The 21st? Was it the 21st? So it was only 5 days old, that one. And
Yeah.
I think it was the complete opposite to the ant one, where we walked in and it got warmer, didn't it? And the wind completely stopped. I sent the drone up. I got some really good aerial footage of that one and us sitting in the middle, and or you guys sitting in the middle. I was walking around. And what did we took the all our crystals and that, we charged them up. We sat in the middle there. We all laid down, took photos, so that was good. And but that one was definitely a different energy to the ant crop circle.
Yes.
So
There was one more, third one, that actually was quite weird for me. Because what happened is my phone was on 100, wasn't it?
Mhm.
Well, what was weird is when I entered that crop circle, it went down to 79%.
it drained some of the energy.
It drained my phone.
Oh,
Wow.
And it was on airplane mode. So that means it can't have gone down so fast. It would have gone down one by one by one. But instead, it just went bam.
Now, this last one, the star, was actually quite difficult to find, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah, well, I actually knew where it was, but because a couple of people have asked how the energy, Cherie's asked how the energy was in the crop circles, and Mark asked that. But Mark's also asked how loud was Tracy Ash in the crop circles. Now, Tracy's louder than you think. I've got video footage of the CE5 that we did in January, and you can hear Tracy like over the top of everything screaming, and it was it was no different when we were in the crop circle, was it? She was going off. And of course we went up the hill to try and access it, and we couldn't get down, and we would have had to trek all the way down the hill, and that was no good for you. So we ended up driving back down around and found it from the ground. And of course we found a little spot to park, but Tracy decided she was just going to park on the side of the road and just block half the road off, or a third of the road off.
There was a lot of angry cars, wasn't there? Like angry people beeping their horns.
There was definitely
Let's
one.
just say there was maybe one or two.
But she was just like, I don't care. Beep all you like.
And this this one was only 2 or 3 days old when we got to see it. And we didn't think, when I saw it was there, we were already planning to go and do a sky watch with Tracy at the Avery Stones. And of course, we met Tracy at the Avery Stones, and you guys got out there, and we'd already talked to Tracy, and Tracy's like, I think we should go do the sky watch at the crop circle. So, and she had a friend of hers, Newton, who she's known for over 20 years, and he's a crop circle chaser. He's a expert. He's been doing it for 20, 30 years. He's from, was it Barcelona? Brazil, but he lives in the UK. But so we met them, and Tracy's like, let's go to the crop circle. So when you guys got there, we had a bit of a meal. We went and took you to meet Tracy, and we saw the Avery Stone. Now, the Avery Stones were much more energy. Remember when we touched those stones and we could feel the heat radiating from
The heat was amazing.
Mm.
It's like a hot water bottle.
Yeah.
I know the sun had been on them most all the day, but still, a stone, you wouldn't think that it would be that hot, especially when the sun was going down.
Was that the one with all the sheeps?
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember. Me and Dad went off to go and like touch the stones and sense it. So the first one we picked up, or I picked up, was happy. Everyone was dancing. But then this second one was so grey and pale. So when I
Which
touched
stones
it,
did you pick up then? Because these are the big stones that were in the field with the sheep.
yeah, that's what I mean.
While you were talking to Tracy.
The 4 big ones that were plotted around.
Right. Okay.
So I touched the grey and like really one, and just straight away I had to take off my hands because all I sensed was horror,
Really?
sadness,
Yeah, right.
angriness.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty
Because
heavy.
we didn't get to see all the stones. We didn't go and look at all the stones because there were stones everywhere. Like there were stones all around that pub and over in the field. And it's quite interesting because obviously the farmers and that are used to people coming and they've got gates there and they just say close the gate and there was all sheep in the field. So, but it's obviously a very popular spot for people to go. And but that stone that you're saying, wouldn't have been in the sun for a couple of hours because it was that first one we touched was right behind that fence and the sun was down. It had probably been out of the sun for at least 2 or 3 hours by then. So
Yeah, Mark's just asked what kind of stone was it?
I don't know. Probably no different to Stonehenge. They looked pretty similar, didn't they?
They did. But Stonehenge, you could almost see that Stonehenge, they had like some kind of stone, but then they had a resin over the top of that, didn't they?
Yeah.
Mm.
These stones were more like stones.
Yeah. That's
They
right.
weren't,
Yeah,
they
the
weren't
Stonehenge,
resin anyway, were they?
the Stonehenge, I remember there's like one of them that we looked at. I got a photo where it looked like it had steel or something. There was a square thing underneath
Yeah.
where the rocks had been taken off. So there's something inside those Stonehenge stones, which was a bit sus actually. Like, you know, now that I'm starting to do more research on, and certain people like Max Egan has said it, you know, like our history is complete lie, and it makes me wonder if those stones have been created and if they really are what people say they are, if they really existed that long ago, because they almost, and they've fiddled with the Stonehenge stones. They've re-erected some of them, and so it's not actually as natural. They've been messed with by man at some point to make them look the way they look, or recent, like humanity is.
A couple of them were actually dangerously lying tilt, so they have actually stood them up to ensure the safety of all.
I think that's someone coming to say hi to the viewers.
Hello, Dougie. We got to
Dougie.
go, Dougie.
Come over here, mate. Come over here.
Dad said Tracy can scream, and yes, she can.
Yes, she can.
Dad.
There he is.
Especially when you're sat in a crop circle and she's putting the green laser up into the sky, and all of a sudden you see something go across the sky. Oh my God, the squeal!
Yeah. That's Tracy. That's Tracy. It's like when we saw her at the airport when we were in between conferences and she saw us and we saw them, and the whole airport would have heard us scream and her scream. So, but yeah, so we got to that third crop circles and we got in the middle. Remember, there was all people at this crop circle because it was fairly new, and there was people up on the hill looking at the white horse that you get to see in one of the pictures on the website, which is was how it was easy to mark where it was. But there was a couple of guys there, and Tracy was kind of educating them, wasn't there? There were some young guys that
they'd come down from the hill, hadn't they?
No,
they were quite.
I'll explain.
They weren't quite respectful, were they?
No, what they did was they came running. They set off firecrackers, and obviously we're thinking it's the farmers shooting at us. And then first thing I said is 12 o'clock, because you can see lights up on top looking down at us. And I said straight away with the binoculars, 12 o'clock.
That's right.
And then,
sorry, go on.
And then what happened is then they set off another one, and I said, right, we've got to get out of here. It's the farmers.
Mika doesn't like confrontation. No. He never has done.
But we didn't have any confrontation in the end, did we?
No.
So then they've come running down with torches. They've had no respect with the corn. They've gone straight running through it, come through it screaming to us, and then they just come and sit down. And then Tracy's just had like a little go at us, them saying, you guys got to have respect. And then they've said, so where's the aliens and all of that? And
she schooled them, didn't she?
Sorry, Dex, yeah?
I said she schooled them, didn't she? She gave them both barrels and told them how it was. And it was funny because they were like, oh, don't people just do these with boards? And she was like, well, you know, what do you think? It's a higher intelligence. But it was quite interesting because ended up being 12 of us all when we were there. There was 12 people, and there was 12 of those 12-pointed stars. So it was really interesting that there was 12 people in there at the time. And then what did we do? We sat down, and while it got dark, and then what did we see, Mika?
UFO.
Yes,
Also known as unidentified flying object.
we did, and I've got some video footage of that. I've got to edit. I tried to get some of it. I mean, this one, it looks no different to the ones that we saw at Uluru. It could quite possibly be a satellite, but we saw it sort of move to the sort of moving, didn't we? So it wasn't going straight.
No, but it was a ball of light. There was nothing definitive about it. It was literally just a ball of light.
It flared up, so it did a
power up. Yes,
power up.
It done a power up, but yeah, you could, even with binoculars, you couldn't see what shape it was or anything like that because it was just so bright.
Well, that was weird.
And a satellite isn't like that.
That's weird because like all of you couldn't see it, but I was the only one that could see what was underneath it.
Yeah, but that's because you're connected.
Yeah, all of you were just saying, "What is that?" And I said, "That's got stuff underneath it." And I've said everything, and you're just like, "No, you're lying." And I'm just like, "No." So you've all had a look again. We can't see anything. I can. That's probably because also another reason is I'm Star Child, so probably maybe some stuff you can't see, I can see.
I believe
that light for me, that was like, imagine your lamp behind you. That's how bright it was for me. For you, that was really bright. For me, I could see everything underneath it.
Well, I can see better on the camera than I can see with my eyes, I've found. Like the camera picks up the light better. So hopefully the footage will be as good for everyone to watch as it was for you to see. I just want to give a shout out to Out of Mind. Good to see you in the chat. And also Michelle Embray. So thanks for joining us. I'm trying to keep up with it.
Shall we go through some of the questions and see what we can answer and what we've already answered?
Yep.
Okay. So, Mark, what was the energy like at Stonehenge and the crop circles? We've covered that, Mark. John, did Dexter and Liz get up to Dover Castle? No, but they will do the next time they come.
Yep.
Are you and Lizzie going to storm Loch Ness? And if so, did you bring swim shoes?
I brought my bathers.
I don't know if it's
I don't wear swim shoes. My flip-flops, my thongs, suit for everything. I've been walking around in flip-flops all around Europe. So, we call them thongs, but I think the Americans...
That's completely something different over here. That's a lady's pair of knickers.
Yes,
they wear them. That's rather tightly.
I'm sorry, but where are they? Where are they?
I'm not showing you what a thong is.
That is a thong.
No. That.
No.
Child friendly.
I didn't do nothing. I've got shorts on.
Child friendly. This is a child friendly show.
Had to be done.
Off you go.
Had to be
Off
done.
you trot. Me and Dougie will host the show this time. Dougie, do you mind doing the chat room for me?
Oh dear. Okay, Mark, how loud was Tracy? Yeah, we know that.
Yeah, don't ask that. Too loud.
Wait till you meet her in person.
Okay, how has your journey been with Dex and Lizzie? Has there been any culture shocks? Apart from things being named differently, I don't believe there has been any culture shocks, has there?
Well, I mean, I lived over in, I lived in Glasgow for a year.
Between different countries, how Dexter's thong with his shoes, whereas over here that's a lady's underwear, and different things like cultural religion, things like that.
Confused.
Yeah,
confused. What it really means is just the different ways of living life. So you've got your English way of living. We have our Australian way of living. French have their French way of living. You go to Italy, they have it's all different culture. So that's what Mum's saying. You know, at least you guys drive on the left side of the road, which is actually the right side, because over here,
side, that's right.
Over here they don't, and of course in America they don't. And I was supposed to drive over here, and after all the driving, because we did 1,000 miles in that week, driving down to Dover, driving to Manchester, driving to Stonehenge, and then driving back to Dover.
Mm-hmm.
So by the time we got on the ferry, which we had a great time, by the way, we have to thank you for that.
That was amazing, absolutely amazing.
So I decided to opt out of driving from Calais to Paris, which was a good thing. We caught the train instead. But France is definitely an amazing culture, like very different. They're a little bit arrogant over here in Paris, but I found when I went to the south of France and when we were in Calais, it was actually really quite welcoming, and our host was really good. Yeah, I don't think we've had any culture shocks, and I'm not going to be shocked by going to Scotland or Ireland because I've been both those places. I did a year of school in Scotland when I was a kid, so we're going to go check out the school that I went to, the house that I lived in. We're going to go up to Loch Lomond. That's where we're staying, and of course we'll get up to Loch Ness. Now I don't know what day they're planning this storm Loch Ness, but I don't really see the point in storming Loch Ness because, like, the Loch Ness monster ain't there, like, going to come out, like, just because people, like, we're going to swim around and, like, bang the water and try and scare him out of the water.
No,
I don't think people realize. I don't think people realize how big Loch Ness is. Like, it's actually a very, very big lake. So,
and very deep as well.
And very deep, and like, I mean, I read something somewhere recently that someone, I don't know who was talking about that, I can't remember. Someone was saying that they'd done some sound testing in the water, and they'd found something that was 15 meters long or something that they thought could have been Nessie. But, you know, I was there for a year and I went up to Loch Ness a few times when I was a kid and we never saw Nessie. So if I didn't see it, I don't think we'll see it this time. So.
I've got to say, when you go to Scotland, you're going to love it because their accent is so good. So when you go up there, all you're going to hear is, "Hi, I'm from Scotland. Welcome to Scotland."
Well,
probably the first thing you can say is, "Sorry, can you repeat that again?" "Hi, I'm from Scotland." It is just amazing.
When I was in Scotland, I was a wee Scottish lad and I had a Scottish accent.
There you go.
Yes! I've actually got one of my grandpas that have sadly passed, which was one of Dad's favourites. And he was really Scottish. And I would have loved to meet him because he was so Scottish.
There you go. Mark says Loch Ness is 36 kilometres long. So there's a lot of water there for Nessie to hide. Now, you know, I'm looking at that sign behind you. You know, I've got a meme that says that, you know, Bigfoot, like the best at hide and seek in the, you know, the hide and seek champion. And I think that actually Nessie's probably the one that's the champion of that because no one's actually really got any, like, footage or definitive proof, whereas as we would know now that Bigfoot, Yowies, Sasquatch are definitely real and probably ultra-dimensional beings, just like fairies and dragons and all this. And I'd say there's a good chance that Nessie's probably one of those too. So for all we know, Nessie could be a water dragon. So
Water dragon?
Yeah.
No one really knows exactly what she is, do we?
No.
It's speculation.
Well, she's a water dragon. Would you mind her coming over here and, like, putting a big water tub outside for her so I can drink it? Train first.
Yeah, Mark, Davey is from Scotland, and I've sent him a message on Twitter, and we're going to try and catch up with him. I've got to try and make contact with him. He doesn't have any messenger or anything, so I've just got to wait for him to see the message. But he said yeah, so hopefully we'll get to meet Davey. We've met some wonderful people on this trip, or caught up with people that we already know, so like Tracy and that. But and of course you guys were our favourite and will be our favourite. So, but yeah, we're definitely going to try and catch up with Davey. So we're making good use of getting around. And so, yeah. Oh, look, there's a couple more people in here. Oh, there's Bug and Philip. So, hi, guys.
Hello.
Thanks for joining.
I've got to say, one of my
Okay, Jim has actually put a question out.
yes.
Oh, has he?
What did Lizzie do to the priest?
Oh, Liz.
Who asked that question?
Jim.
Jimmy.
Yeah, we.
Come on. Right, this
Well, I was driving and I was trying to make sure people see me and was always behind me and people, because it was really mad on the roads. And every time I tried to overtake or something, I had to make sure Sarah was with me. And a few times people pushed their way in between us so that they could get off at the exit or something. And some guy sort of got in our way, and I went around them. And he then pulled in front of you and went really slow, didn't he? And from your perception, it looked like Auntie Lizzie gave him the finger. So
I was fist pumping the air saying, thanks, we passed this guy. I didn't even know it was a priest.
And as we came past, we saw it was actually a priest.
So Dad's got straight on there saying, Liz, you do know you just did that to a priest.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
And obviously
That was the highlight of
I'm in the back laughing my head off.
That Auntie Lizzie has just given the finger to a priest.
Do you know what, Auntie? You're the best auntie I've ever had. Well done.
So Mark said, how was the crops bent? Were they in layers and multiple directions? And yes, I think we covered that, because that's what I was saying. And if you look at the pictures, you can see that it's not just done with a board. It's very intricately done, and you would literally have to bend one wheat piece after another and spend like the whole time bending one, and there's like hundreds of thousands.
It's like they were crisscrossed and then flattened.
Yeah.
And then in places they were twisted and flattened, and it was just the way there's no way you could do that with a board, because it would all go one way.
That's right.
Absolutely.
And that last one was near the White Horse, Mark. So just to finish that.
Yep.
So
yeah, I've got to say, that bit with the boys, that obviously they came down and they were just like, oh, have you seen any aliens? Are we going to see any aliens? And obviously I've just gone, and then I've gone over my line and I've said, well, if you're patient, you can see them.
Yep.
Because there was no way I'm just going to hear that all night. Oh, have you seen any aliens? Oh, are we going to see any aliens? And then I said it for the second time. If you wait and be patient, they will come.
But alienation is basically saying that they are
different from us.
From us, which
But they're not.
Obviously they're not.
Can you bear with me for a second?
Yep, I will.
We don't class the interdimensional beings.
See, Mark's just asked, do you feel crop circles were man-made or supernatural? Now, we all have a very good friend named Sabrina, and Sabrina was doing a reading for people on Facebook a couple of nights ago, about 3 nights ago.
Yeah.
And I basically asked, is there any messages in relation to the crop circles? And she actually said yes, and that the messages come from interdimensional beings from other dimensions, and they are passed through to extraterrestrials, and the extraterrestrials then put the message in the crops with we would believe some sort of electromagnetic force, or because there's been cases where pilots have flown on an hour or a half-hour flight, couriering or taking people somewhere, and they've flown over these fields, landed, dropped off their cargo, got back up in the air, half an hour or so later, they've flown over, and there's a crop circle. And the intricate designs that would take literally days for one or two people to do, and they're just there like that. So, I mean, that sort of says to you, there's definitely evidence that they're done within a very short period of time, the legit ones anyway. So
we know that there are some that are done by man-made, yes, of course. But definitely not all of them.
Yeah, but
Especially the ones we saw, they were definitely not made by man.
Yeah, and Sabrina's probably one of the most legitimate mediums I've come across, and
Absolutely.
she's done some amazing readings for us and for you and people in our group, and
she's never been wrong.
She's never been wrong, and she just I would like you got to listen to what she said. She said quite a few things, and the cards that she was using were fractal cards, and the one that she drew to do the reading looked just like a crop circle I've seen from years ago. That was actually a fractal, so that was really interesting. That was the card that came up. Mark's just said he was chatting to Sabrina yesterday, and Johnny says he loves Sabrina, and we all love Sabrina. So
oh, absolutely.
I'm sure not one person hates Sabrina. And if you do,
Sabrina is just awesome. She's never been wrong.
No.
Did we experience missing time? No, I don't think we did. I mean, time seemed to go.
Battery.
It seemed to go on the 12 pointed star. The time seemed to go very quickly.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it went very dark very quickly.
Yeah.
Tracy,
we were in the middle of the countryside. So there was no light pollution.
Yeah. Yeah.
Experience.
Yeah, because by the time we left, it was dark because we didn't want to. It was getting dark. We didn't want to stay too late because it was getting late. And but Tracy stayed late, and she said that they did actually experience missing time. Oh, she's written something on Facebook. I saw. I have to read it properly, but I believe they did sort of have a bit of a time warp because she was talking about sleeping there in the crop circle and staying all night. So, and because she's been. Excuse me, because she's in Japan now, isn't she? So she pretty much took off the next day. So we haven't had a chance to chat with her about what actually happened for them after we left. But yeah, like we got to go do 3 crop circles. We did a sky watch. We got something come over. We got flashed. So yeah, I mean, look, 3 crop circles. I think we pretty much believe that it's real. Yeah.
Were you thinking, 5 days that we were together, 7 included in the 2 days you were down here, but for the 5 days that we were actually together up in Manchester, so 3 crop circles, 1 Stonehenge, and 2 days at Awakening.
And Avery Stones.
Sorry?
And the Avery Stones.
And the Avery Stones. I think we got a hell of a lot in.
Maybe 1 or 2 things in.
No, we
That's my new phrase at my moment.
We were absolutely blessed and honoured to be able to spend that time with you for a week and to do so much. And it was interesting because you guys have lived there all your life and you've never got to Stonehenge and you've never seen a crop circle, and it all just fell into place. Those crop circles appeared just where we were going to be. And I mean, we had actually planned to go see a crop circle when we got to Calais, and we kind of canned that because that was a really old one and we weren't sure if it was still going to be there. And I was a bit worried about driving on the wrong side of the road. And so we didn't bother with it. We saw 3, and we know we're going to see more because we'd planned to try and see 2, and of course we got to see 3. So and we're
absolute bonus.
We're going to. I've decided to devote one of my legs to crop circles, and I'm going to get tattoos of all the designs of the crop circles we've been in. I think Lizzie's going to do the same, and I think Jim's asked me to send. Lizzie came up with the idea, but Jim's going to. We're going to send him the what do you call it? The design. Once we get it drawn up, we'll send him the same design so he can get exactly the same size and designs, and he's going to put some on his legs as well, I think. So it's sort of like a what do you call it? When you chalk up, you've got a scoreboard. Yeah. So we're going to have a scoreboard of all the crop circles that we see in our life. So, and when people ask what they are, I'm going to say they're crop circles that we've been in. So
yeah. I'm not sure how that's going to work with my legs. I'm not sure whether to use the one that I use very well or the one I don't use.
Yeah. Oh well, we'll see.
Might have to be a mini, miny mum.
How about what we should do is What do you want to do? Do you want to? Oh, we've already done questions, haven't
We've
we?
done questions.
Actually, no.
Mark's asked one more, which was, is Dex wearing his leopard skin thong at
There with us.
I don't have a leopard skin thong, Mark. It's
I'll get you one.
camo. It's camo. Like everything that I wear, it's camo.
But we
Oh, Mark, it was such a great adventure, honestly. And
it was amazing.
I took Dex and Liz down to the port. The boys didn't want to come down. One, because there wouldn't have been enough room in the car, because obviously we had their cases to come down as well. Jim's not very good at goodbyes, so it's a case of, right, take some photos outside. It was when we all got together, take photos, and we took one last photo of all of us together. They shot back in the doors before the tears went, and I was like, right, okay, I'm the one driver. I'll go down and take them down.
Yeah.
So I stayed with you until you actually got on that bus.
Yeah.
And then you actually got to, like we say, we upgraded you. You didn't know anything about that until you were basically on your way.
Yeah. We told us when we were on our way over to England. It's funny because I didn't feel I held it back. I blocked it out when I said goodbye to the boys, but saying goodbye to you was heart-wrenching, wasn't it? We were just about in tears, and you're standing there, and we're on the bus, and we drove past you on the bus, and I had to jump up on the seat, and I yelled out, "See you, Sarah!" And everyone on the bus looked at me like I was a weirdo, and I was like, "Buggy, I don't care. Like, this is a memory in the making." So, like, we had the most.
White cliffs behind you.
Yeah. And so then we got on the ferry, and we got off the bus. We had to do our passports, and then we had to get back on the bus, and then we had to we had to go through the scanners and get all our bags checked. And then we got back on the bus, and then we got on the ferry, and we got all the way up to Club Lounge, and we've walked in, and Frankie's come out and gone, "Have you got your tickets?" And we went to go, like, say that Jimmy had organised it, and she goes, "You're Jimmy's friend." I know you. And we were a bit taken aback because we didn't realise, when she told us, she'd actually watched our engagement video on Twitter. So she's like, she's so good to us. She wouldn't take our money to pay for the extra upgrade, and we just got champagne and food given to us. We didn't pay for anything, so we were absolutely spoiled, and we really thank you both, all of you, for
your own little deck outside with your lounges and. It's a bit quieter up there than the main floor, isn't it?
There was only about 7 or 8 people up there because it was a pretty quiet. There was only it was only half full, that boat, that day, and we were lucky because we didn't realise it was going to be packed out for the next week. That's why Jimmy's not with us, because it's school holidays and it's madness now. So
yes, it was Jimmy's boat that they were on, but Jim didn't go back to work until the Wednesday, and sadly, Dex and Lizzie left on the Tuesday.
Yeah, well, we knew that when we organised it because but we just wanted to actually go on his boat. And Frankie was amazing. Frankie works with cool. And Rachel. Rachel, got to give a shout out to Rachel too, because she got us our food and that. But what was I going to say? When we were leaving, because we sort of hung around and everyone had left, and we were the last ones out of there because we were still enjoying ourselves on the deck. And Frankie's like, "Oh, it was really great to meet you. You're my favourite celebrities." So yeah, we got the royal treatment the whole time we were in the UK, and really on the boat, and we got to Calais, and so we've been in France for 5 days now. So we're heading off to Scotland tomorrow. So, but yeah, it was.
And how has France been? Has it held up to everything you expected, or?
Très bien.
Yeah, it's been good.
It's been beautiful. Bella. Is it Bella? Yeah. Bella. Oh, that's Italian, but Belle. Belle. So, my French is terrible. I've been trying my hardest. Like, some of them, they just look at you, and you say, parle anglais, and they go, no. And the others, they'll try a little, and then you get ones that can speak fluent English. But we've been doing all right. We've managed. Jimmy's boat was amazing, Mark. It's massive. You don't a ferry that we might catch across the river in Australia. It's 100 times bigger. and we didn't really see much of the boat because we were upstairs living the life of luxury. But there's all like duty free and restaurants, and it's like people. So many cars and trucks go on there each day, and they had a lower deck where all the passengers were down. So we were right up above everyone. So we didn't really see the whole boat. It's only an hour and a half to get across. So we made good use of the time that we were there on the in the lounge. So yeah, we can't thank you enough for that. That was very special.
You're going to travel and you've got friends that travel there, work there, you might as well travel in style.
Yeah, that's what we thought. So
I think I remember what my first words were when I just closed the door. I miss them.
yeah,
That was my only word. I said to Dad, the first thing I said to him was, I miss them.
Mate, we miss you. We miss cuddles every day. Cuddling all three of you, big group hugs and kisses. It was so special.
And Dad was just like, I know you do. And I said, and he said, I've only just walked out the door. And I said, I know, but I miss them.
Mark has asked, is it like the boat to Tasmania?
Yeah, it is. It's probably a bit bigger, but it's definitely that's the same sort of boat. Where they have all trucks, cars that park in underneath. I've actually been on one like that before, funnily enough, when I came over here 17 years ago, but it was out of Chabot, which is south of France, and that one went to Ireland, and it was 18 hours. So, but it was exactly the same sort of boat. But actually, I think Jimmy's was probably bigger than the one that we went on from Ireland. I'm not sure. It looked about the same, but they're like big ocean liners. They're massive. The ocean was really calm the day. It was a bit foggy, so we couldn't see all the way across the channel. But yeah, definitely we had a very smooth ride. So it doesn't even feel like you're on a boat. You can hardly feel you're moving.
No, and it's surprising. What, 21 miles?
Yeah. I can't believe people swim it.
I know.
It's mad.
Mad people. People. Yeah. Yeah, is there anything else you'd like to add?
What about our trip to Manchester?
Any of it? Is there anything we haven't covered that you'd like to say? No?
Well, so yeah, we've enjoyed our journey. We've flown to England. We've drove down to Dover. We've spent the whole week with you guys. Then we've come over here to France. We've done the Eiffel Tower yesterday. Went to the Arc de Triomphe. We walked down the Champs-Élysées. And we went to see Jim Morrison's grave and Oscar Wilde today. And we went and saw a Vincent van Gogh expose. Yeah. So the first night we got here to Paris, we actually went and caught up with a friend of ours that we met, who's a really good friend of Tracy's that we met in January at the conferences. She lives in Paris, so she took us. We did a big walk around Paris, and we went to a couple of places, had something to eat, had some drinks. And apart from the fact that it's very expensive here, we've had a great time, haven't we? So,
yeah, it's been amazing. Loved it.
But
Loved every minute.
Yeah. I'm ready to get out of here in the morning and go to Scotland and just relax in the countryside. Get away from the big city
now.
Yeah. Yeah. Because
Mark has asked, what did
Mika?
What did Mike?
Yeah, he's put Mike.
He meant Mika. A instead of E.
I have learned at Manchester. I love crystals. I never really used to be very that bothered into crystals, but it was only like at Manchester where I suddenly realised in one of my daydreams, I'm gonna have to start doing crystals because that is one of the sacred things about doing tarot as well. You've got to have crystals nearby when you're doing it. That's how, Liz, can you remember I gave you the Three of Cups.
Yeah,
Oh, that's right.
I remember.
Yeah,
Well-
Mika did a tarot reading for both of us before awakening.
What was weird was I had crystals nearby. I only had them just in my room. In fact, no. I had one, a pendulum, around my neck.
Oh,
That's right.
And on the end, it's a crystal.
Well,
So,
what did we do? We went and talked to that woman, and she had a dowsing rod type copper
Yeah.
thing.
bear with me.
All right, he's going to go and get. So she was showing us how to ask questions and teaching Mika how to do a reading. So when you got your pendulum, so we used this little rod. I actually had to go, and Mika had to go, and so you asked the question. So show us yes, and so it would start moving like this. Mika's going to show you now, and then we start no, and it would start
Right,
moving the other way.
Turn off this fan because that counts as interfering.
Go on, give him a
No.
demonstration.
I've got to have silent because
No.
this.
Go back a
Right.
bit, Mika. Go back a bit.
And back a bit.
Just sit down and show us. That's it. All right. So still
Right.
it.
Ready?
So ask the questions.
Show me yes.
There you go.
And as you can see, I'm not even moving my arm. Show me no.
And it's starting to go back the other way.
Show me I don't know.
So Mika's learning this from
Show
away.
me I don't want to talk about it.
And go back the other way.
So what I was able to know about his name was actually this whole time I've been doing, it's been radar from the Sandia.
Ah.
So when I said, oh, have you talked to Sue recently? It was a straight, I don't want to talk about it.
Oh, really?
And I said, and Dad said, right, respect that. And I said, yeah, I will. So I
Yeah.
go on. So like I've been asking all these private questions about me, and it's known every single piece. And I said, are you an ET? Yes. Are you from Sandia? Yes. Are you radar? Yes.
Oh, there you go.
First thing I said is, are you Peter? And it said no. Are you radar? Yeah.
But you've got a bit of a connection with radar. We already knew that. So it
But
doesn't
it's
surprise me he's coming through for you.
yeah. And I think also why he loves me is he comes to my house and he tunes my guitar, my electric guitar.
He tunes it.
Right. So I'm just
don't you get him out.
asleep. Yeah. So I say to Sue the next day, I heard something last night because Dougie's normally down here and he makes like creaking noises on the floorboard.
Yep.
And she says, oh, Radar was at your house last night. And obviously the first thing I've gone is, oh no. Because I don't know what he's done. And I said, what's he done now? Oh, he tuned your guitar. Oh no. So the next thing I'm thinking is, he's played it, isn't he? So I've said to Sue, has he played it? Yeah. And that was the bit where I was so ashamed of myself. So then the next night, I just go, right, come on then. Go and tune the guitar.
Look at that. Look at that. What's that say?
Update. I got into port.
Daddy's in port. Hey!
So
Oh,
then the next day is, I've said to Sue, did Radar come last night? No. Peter? Yeah. Did he touch my guitar? Mm-hmm. And then I was just thinking, oh, he's not a professional, or I'd rather prefer Radar to do it than Peter. But then obviously, because Peter's been working with Radar, he tuned my guitar.
so is it Radar and Peter that have visited you in your room, do you think? Was that both of them?
Well, it was my first ever. If you would like, I'd go through my experience again.
Yep, go on.
So it was one night when I was doing my show, our show,
That's
and
right.
lines hit. So I got so creeped out, I couldn't do the show anymore.
You got a bit
I
spooked.
sat over there, and then just our blinds were open, blue lights at the window, and I've gone like this to Mum. I couldn't speak. I was speechless, and every time I tried to go, Mum, I couldn't open my mouth.
Yep.
And I was there for 10 seconds, and she's gone, what? So she's looked, there's nothing there. And she said, what did you say?
I can't remember now.
I think she said, no, you just joking. I said, I'm not. So then the next thing, I'm having a digital download.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep, I remember.
So then I've just gone, right, that's me for the night. I'm done. I've had too much of that experience.
Yeah.
So there's probably a week later where I'm just about to wake up on a Sunday morning. And then I get this really strange dream. Peter on radar's jumping on my bed to airwaves.
And
So I've gone to Mum saying, I had the weirdest dream last night. And she said, okay, I'll get in touch with Sue. It was Sue, innit?
Yeah.
And then the next, couple of minutes, she's gone, yeah, that actually happened last night. And I went, what? I'm sorry, what? Yeah, that actually happened last night. And then I just say to Mum, hang on a sec. I remember seeing a blue light flash. And then that was weird because I woke up and it was midnight.
wow.
Oh.
Mark wants to know. Mark
I'm
wants to know if your guitar was in tune the next morning when you got told that it was tuned. Did you actually?
I believe it was.
Yeah.
Because ever since that, I haven't touched my guitar. Because I know they just touch it all the time.
Yeah.
So I've just left it there for them. And that is basically their corner.
Yeah.
It's not mine or Dad's anymore. That used to be mine and Dad's. Now it's their corner.
Yeah.
They have said to me in dreams, this is our corner now. And I've gone, well, you can't do that. Well, we've claimed it. All right. But I don't think they have done Dad's guitar yet.
Okay.
So I think what I'm going to do is I might get into contact with them tonight just to say, right, you're open to do both of our guitars.
Awesome.
But it was weird because it was just at the middle of the night, you're just sleeping. Imagine that. And then you hear, bow, bam. And then I'm just thinking in my sleep, oh, it's a weird dream again. Mika, snap out of it. Come on. But then to find out they're tuning my guitar, I think tomorrow I'm going to get it out because I'm sure they have tuned it.
Cool.
Because you never say never to an alien that ever comes to your house and you've got a guitar and they love guitars.
They don't.
Yep.
They don't like being called the A word, do they?
Yeah. No. Zetas.
Yeah. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. That artwork that Erik did for you, Mr. Erik Stitt, is that supposed to be a representation of when they visited you? Those in the background?
It's funny you should say that. Now, I believe on my.
It's not quite what we've said. What we gave to Erik was an idea that we wanted Mika and Jim in it.
Yep.
We wanted a good slogan.
Yep.
And obviously we wanted some Zetas in there.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he came up with the slogan, take a walk on the wild side.
Yep. Yep.
And that's where the street came in with the house and the Zetas at the end of the street.
Now,
because that was before the event, wasn't it? So that's
It
almost like
was
a
before.
premonition. It's like Eric's premonition to those two, because it looks like
Yes.
the two of them have come through, like into him in his artwork. And that's exactly what
You've
happened.
got the 3 Zetas here,
Or 3.
Mm.
and then you got Jim and Mika.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah.
I've got to say, we watched this TV show called The Grand Tour, which is basically cars, and you've got Jeremy, Richard, and James, and them 3 people have just finished one of their shows, one of their seasons, and Jeremy was so emotional. He was so upset.
We're not going to talk about our
No.
shows. All right, please. Take it back to us. Take it back. Good boy.
Yeah.
That's all right. So we just wanted to talk about your experience with radar and that, because you've named. Is the crystal that you were just using, the pendulum, is that not now radar as well?
Well, I can.
It's
show
radar that is actually controlling
Right.
it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Here we go. Are you radar?
Yep, that's
Oh,
radar.
pretty strong. Look at that.
Are you Peter?
Stop. Back the other way. Oh. Is
Are you
that-
from Sandia? And there it is. Thank
Oh, I love it, little buddy. Proud to call you our nephew, we are.
Absolutely.
Star child.
Then one more thing. Have you tuned my guitar last night? Hey, thank you.
It's kept in tune.
Thank you for keeping it tuned. Appreciate it, dude.
Awesome.
So
I love these little alien Zetas.
That's it.
they'll forgive you. You're still learning.
Yes.
They understand I've got a mind. Yeah. I'm the clumsy one and the forgetful one in this family. I drop glasses all the time.
Oh,
I remember when I was younger, I grabbed a cup from the a glass from the cabinet, and Mum was there, and she said, "Don't drop it." And I said, "I won't." And then I've remembered I've had water on my hand, and I've gone, "That wasn't me." And she says, "Of course it was you." And I said, "No, it isn't. Because I forgot it was me that did it. I thought it was."
clumsy. You'll grow out of it, mate. That's all right. My sister was a bit clumsy when she was your age and used to knock glasses off tables all the time.
Mum is just the she will sometimes be very clumsy.
Yeah.
It's usually with me tripping over things, though.
Oh, well.
Ducky!
You do all right for getting up and down the stairs, Sarah.
I ain't got much choice.
I've got to say, most of the things she trips over, she could trip over anything in the world, but she trips over Dougie.
Yeah, but
Why
don't
do
get
you
on your
do
feet.
He's
this?
always round my feet.
I can't believe you've done this.
He's always round my feet. Where is he
Dougie,
now? He's sat on my feet.
he's actually sat on mine.
I can feel him on mine.
Well, he's on mine, look.
He's on
Beat
both
it.
of us. I'm gonna take over both of us.
We've got photos of us sitting where you guys sitting right now with Dougie on our lap. So
Yeah.
we feel we were pretty blessed to be able to be on set at your house. So
Seriously, it's fine.
On set. That sounds so strange. And it was so strange you come in and go, look, there's the set.
What set?
You're
There's
allowed
no
to-
set in our house.
Oh, come on! You've got the picture that Harrison drew for you. You've got the artwork that Erik Stitt did, and then you've got the Sasquatch sign there. So
I'm
it's kind
hoping
of-
that soon we're going to get more fan art because I would just love fan art.
yeah.
I'll
Well,
do anyone else's fan art. I really don't mind.
with 1,500 views of your interview, I reckon you might get some more now.
Yeah. Yes.
So
Yeah.
tell me, well, before we get close to wrapping up, because we've been going for an hour and 40 minutes, and it doesn't even feel like we've been talking for an hour and 40 minutes. Of course,
No.
with you guys, time
Yeah.
slips. But tell us, what was the the biggest highlight about interviewing Grant Cameron and Richard Dolan? Because that was an amazing interview. You did so well. They tried to turn it around on you and start asking you questions, and you took it on the chin. You answered them, and then you turned around and went, right, I'm the interviewer, and you just kept on and you asked more questions.
Yeah.
And it was then the thanks, lads.
Yeah.
But then it was the one bit where then they asked me a question and then I just backfire on them with like one of the hardest questions that no one can answer. Do you want to know it?
Yeah, Kyle, I can't remember.
Ice cream.
That's right.
That is just impossible to answer that question. That is the most important question.
I thought it was funny because Grant said, no, vanilla's too plain, but Richard turned around and went, I like vanilla. With what did he say? Maple syrup, didn't he?
That's right.
Yeah, I'm going to
I'm
have to try that.
I'm going to have to do like something on like a channel or something, and I'm going to have to do like a couple of stuff no one knew about me. And one of the stuff is I love vanilla ice cream. I love it.
Mark's just said, nice towel. It's gotten dark now, Mark, so we can take the towel down. And what I'm going to do
was extremely bright, and we couldn't actually see you.
All right, watch yourself. All right, we're going to just get. All right, you see that light in the background? That white.
Yeah.
That's the Eiffel Tower.
Wow.
So we get to see that from our window every night when we're here. So that's awesome.
Wow.
So I had the towel up, Mark, because it was daylight when we started, even though it was 9 o'clock at night. And there's no curtain on that one. And
Thanks, man.
yeah. So I just thought I'd show why we had that covered up, and now that we can take it down. So
You wanted to keep the secrets for us. Oh, how nice, my darling. Very nice.
you funny boy. Love you so much. So much love for you guys.
Absolutely.
So hang on a minute. Now I've done all the talking here. Lizzie, what was your highlight of our trip so far?
Everything.
Everything?
But meeting the Pearsons was one of my biggest highlights.
Pearsons?
Yeah.
We're
Who
no
are they?
Pearsons. We're the crazy peas in the pod.
Yeah, well,
indeed.
we're-
I love it.
we're pretty
All
crazy.
the
too.
FFS.
Yeah. First family of Fringe, and we are.
That's it.
Oh, I said this to Mum the other day. I just dislike that name.
Oh,
I-
really?
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think he actually understood what it meant
No,
until when I explained it to him and said, look, Fringe is actually our community.
Yeah, but I still don't like the name.
Well,
I really don't. We are called this. That's why it says Fascination
No,
Street. That's our name.
the name of our channel. That's not the name of us.
Well, my name's Mika. You're Sarah. And Jimmy.
Yes, but we are.
hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. You are a family.
Yeah.
You are on the fringe of all topics of conspiracy, and you are the first family to do it. So you are the first family of Fringe.
Exactly. See?
So what would FFF be for UFO? First phenomenal forever.
Why did you know?
Yeah.
You're a funny boy.
No.
I make stuff up.
No.
Go back to the corner and think about what you just said.
Johnny, did you come up with the first family of Fringe? I seem to remember Johnny was the one that.
He did.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
did.
Oh.
It was John that actually gave us that name. And when we first heard it, it was just like, wow, that is just phenomenal.
Yeah, hashtag FFF. So yeah, we were absolutely honoured and blessed to get to come all the way, 24 hours travel to the UK and spend a week with you. And it didn't feel like a week. It felt like a very long time. It felt absolutely natural to be around you guys. From the moment we hugged you when we walked in the door, it was like family we'd known all our lives, and we just fell into an absolute natural routine every day.
Yeah.
And it was really hard not to have those hugs and kisses every morning when we got here. So I've been hugging Lizzie lots to try and make up for it. Oh, look, Lizzie's got. I'll let her show.
Sorry, no, I'm just cleaning my bag up.
Oh, look, I'm just gonna.
I'm sorry.
I just grabbed it off.
Cleaning my
This
bag
is
up.
Lizzie's rose quartz skull. As you can see. What's her
Sally.
name? Sally. So
And
that.
yours is sorry.
Jeff.
My name's Jeff.
I'm somehow I think you've influenced that crystal skull. He's like read your mind and decided he was going to be Jeff, because I'm sure they just come up with their own names. Like,
Yeah, Mike came up with Lucy.
yeah, there you go.
And
Hey,
then
that's right. What's that?
Dad.
Trey for Dad, that's
Trey.
right.
Yeah, Trey.
I remember Dad saying when you first said your crystal was Jeff, he said, out of all the names in the world, that crystal could have he chose Jeff.
I know.
Bam!
I know. I was like, really, Jeff? Couldn't you come up with something like creative and original? But you know what? I'm happy to have my first crystal, and I think Lisa's already. She's asked us for our address, so it looks like we're going to be getting some other friends to join our Sally and Jeff. So it'll be interesting to see what those names are when we first touch them. So
Mine came through instantly, whereas Jim and Mika's, it took a little bit of time.
yeah,
So
yeah.
don't be disheartened if it doesn't come through immediately. It can take a little bit of time.
Well, we're listening to Jimmy Church talk about it for quite a while now, and you know, I'm always the skeptic at first. I have an open mind, but I'm always skeptical of what people say and their experiences until I get to experience it for myself. But you know, Jimmy Church has sort of said he's had ones speak to him straight away and ones that have taken time to name themselves. So I don't expect to get an instant name the first time I touch it. Like I wonder if it's a bit different when you choose when you're looking for your own crystals, like when your crystals pick you. But if someone gives you a crystal as a gift, sometimes it takes a while maybe for the energy to align with you and resonate with you before it gives you any messages. So yeah, it's an interesting concept, and I'm new to it, but definitely got Jeff straight away, and I was like, really, like, I mean, I was, that's the open mind but skeptical of it, and then as soon as I did it, like, and I kind of got a bit of it wasn't an electric shock like Mika explained with his, but definitely felt the energy with the name. So that's why I took my hand off and I put my hand back on, and I got that same energy and that same name, and so I was like, yep, that's the one. I'm gonna have to take Jeff home. So Jeff's been to the crop circles with us, and he's traveling around with us, so he's going to be a well-traveled crystal by the time we get home.
He certainly is.
How you spell my crystal's name is AB, and that's it.
No, E. Abe.
That's it, AB.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then Dad is Trey, so
No, it's TRE.
TRE, that's it.
Well,
And then it's Lucy, so
I think Jeff's 1F, so I'm pretty sure he's telling me now it's only JEF.
Oh, it's
so,
1F. Oh,
yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, he likes to be original now that I've said that his name was too common. Well,
so Mum's names of her crystals is spelled LUCY.
Why?
Yeah.
John's asked, did you guys go to the catacombs? We didn't. So.
No, yeah, I missed. Where is the catacombs? Is that in Paris, or I think they're in Paris, or they're in, I don't know. I think that's what he's missed. Look, that's what I meant to say. The day that we got here was so hot, and then what day is it? Saturday. So Thursday happened to be 42 degrees. Now for me in Perth, that's a standard summer day, hot day. We usually have some pretty hot days during our January, sometimes in December. But it was actually on record the hottest day that Paris has ever had. So talk about take the weather with you. So we actually missed out. It was just too hot to do anything, and they closed the Eiffel Tower that day. And the day we got here, I mean, it was so hot. We were climbing up the stairs and getting into this apartment. Like, we asked the woman if it was air conditioned before we got here because we knew there'd been a bit of a heat wave, and she was like, "Oh no, it's not common." And of course, when we get here, it's the hottest day ever. So we sort of we're in a bit of a sweat. But we've got a lovely place that we've been staying in here. It's really new, and it's been a treat. But yeah, so we just didn't do anything on Thursday. So we missed out one of our days to get around Paris and see things. But we've seen all that we wanted to see, haven't we? We've had a great time. So so anything that we've missed, like just if it was meant to be, it would have happened. And this whole journey has just fallen into place for us, especially the time that we got to spend with you. So there's so much to see. So many people have said, do this, do that. And it was like we were going to go to Sacré-Cœur, and we haven't got there. But we went to see Vincent van Gogh's the expose today. So, we did what resonated with us. And it was funny because Lizzie saw the poster for it in the metro, and we had already planned to go see Jim Morrison's grave, and it just so happened to be down the road. We could walk there from it. So we did that today, and then we got back on the metro, came home, we had a bit of a sleep, so we were ready for the show. And now we're about to pack up our bags, get a little bit more sleep, get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, get ourselves out to Charles de Gaulle Airport, and fly to Scotland. So, actually, we're flying to Manchester, and we're driving to Scotland because Crazy Dex decided he was going to do some more driving, and we're going to go and see some things on the way up to Scotland. And I have an old friend that's friends with my mum, that her boys and I were mates when I was in school in Glasgow. So we're going to try and stop in and catch up with her and see the place I lived and see my school. And then so there's 3 nights in Glasgow. So we'll try and catch up with Davey, go see Loch Ness, go see Loch Lomond, maybe possibly a castle or two. So. And then we're off to Ireland.
Missed Dover Castle. I've got to see a castle.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I had fun driving. I mean, you're all mad over there, but I really did enjoy the driving. It was an experience. I thought driving through Melbourne and Sydney and Brisbane were bad compared to Perth, but seeing what it's like over there on the roads and seeing what it's like here in France, and I'm absolutely glad I didn't try the challenge of trying to drive around here, because I watched them. There's scooters and bikes and people walk on the road in front of cars, and I'm sure I would have had an accident or run someone over if I tried to drive into Paris. So that was a good option to bypass that. But I have no problem driving from Manchester to Glasgow, so we're looking forward to that.
Yeah.
And as Johnny says, just go have fun. So yeah, that's pretty much, and 42 is definitely normal in Sydney and Perth. And I mean, I don't think it gets as hot. Does it get like that in Brisbane much?
Yeah.
I mean, we haven't had a big hot day like that. It was 40, just the humidity.
Yeah, just the humidity. It gets to almost like high 30s, maybe 40.
Yeah.
Very rarely, but it feels like 40.
I mean, when
the humidity, it feels worse than that.
Yeah. When we were in Uluru, it was 44 degrees every day, and it was dry, hot heat, and it's it's completely different to the humidity. And it was pretty humid today. It wasn't that hot, but it was humid today. So, but it's been nice. Like, I mean, I had pants on today instead of shorts, but it actually heated up a bit this afternoon. Now it started to cool down a bit. There's a nice cool breeze coming through. I think it's going to be about 16 degrees by the time we get up in the morning. So. We're getting ready for Scotland weather. We'll see how cool it is when we get up there. So that'll be cool.
It might well be. You might need a coat.
Yeah, it might not be. It might be warm, but we don't mind. We've got clothes for both weather. So
we'll be right.
So bit sad that we've moved on our journey, and the week that we got to spend with you guys was just amazing. So we're definitely coming back, aren't we?
Yep.
And next time we're going to do Dover Castle, and we're going to spend a couple of weeks in Dover, so we get to see Mum and Dad and spend time with you. I think we might just get a tent and camp in your backyard next time. So
why not?
Yeah, save on accommodation and get to be right in your backyard the whole time we're there. So we like camping. So
Absolutely. That'd be cool, wouldn't it? Yeah.
So
Or they can spend it in your room. Although Uncle Dex did actually get to see your room, and there's not much room in there.
oh yeah, I got a rundown of everything in the room, all the Star Wars toys and the masks and stuff. That was cool. So yeah,
No salad.
no.
Word of the show. No salad.
You Wally.
No. Remember the lightsaber battle.
Yeah.
No salad.
In the circle.
Well, seeing as you want my Star Wars toys, no salad.
Oh,
That's actually been the word.
we've just had Pat join us. So hi Pat.
Hey,
You
Pat.
missed the show, but
Yeah.
Sure,
It's
you
been-
can watch it again.
Yeah,
Okay.
he has says, do not kiss the, is it Blarney Stone?
yeah, blimey.
I'd been live up there for a while and the locals pee on it just to
Okay. All right, that's out
one
then.
for the notebook.
yeah. Yeah. So look, we've done so much. We've been over now 2 weeks now, and we've got another week and a half to go. And like, we couldn't have asked for a better holiday, could we?
No, it's good.
We're so
Brilliant.
glad we
Been
decided
brilliant.
to spend the week with you guys and do all that we did. And we
Oh,
got the
it's
opportunity to do the crop circles, and so it's been a chance in a lifetime. Definitely bucket list ticks all the way through.
Yeah, lots of different things ticked off.
Yeah. So yeah, I think Jim will just about be home soon, wouldn't he?
I don't know how he's getting home, so I'm not quite sure.
No, because can't he walk?
He can,
It'd be quicker to walk than drive.
it would, but like front door,
Oh,
live,
right on time. Right on time. Get him in here. Speak of the devil and he shall appear.
and he shall appear.
There you go.
He probably
Get your ass in here, boy.
This is not a child-friendly show.
Hello, Doug. Right. Oh my God, he's had everything out.
yes, he's had
Right,
everything out. What do you
wait,
expect?
Sit down. Sit down.
And welcome to Fascination Street. And tonight we are doing our Awakening recap with Liz and Dex from Paris. I have Sarah with me. Mika is over here. So, guys, how did we find the Awakening this year? Was it good? Did you have a good time?
No, it was terrible. We don't want to talk about it.
I am so sorry I am late. I appreciate that. My colours, they seem to blend quite well with Sarah's, actually, don't they? Especially the orange. But there again, you've seen me in the original garb, haven't you, dear?
That's how we
Yes.
met you. That's how I got. We're actually going to put up the video because when we got there, Jimmy didn't know that we'd arrived that day, and Sarah took us down to the port, and we waited down where Jimmy comes out, and Lizzie and I hid, and Mika went in to try and distract Dad, and of course he saw over here, he jumped out, and we had big cuddles, and I found out that Jimmy's about that much taller than me, so
A little bit wider.
The camera is a little bit deceiving, isn't it?
yes, he's like me. He's got long legs and a sort of fairly decent, even-sized torso. So
I've got length and girth.
yeah. Well, we're so glad you made it for the end of the show, mate. Because
Well, I managed to catch little bits and pieces because we have been incredibly busy. I mean, I think this one was our quietest one, but I mean, we've been carrying like 300 odd cars and like 20 odd coaches, and it's been absolutely chaos. And it's so good to actually be home and make it. It's so weird being somewhere and watching your show when you're not on your show. It's very weird. But I always know that it's in safe hands. I've got like normally you guys modding, John modding, Tirana if he's still there. Yep, Tirana there as well.
yeah,
And obviously you got Mika and Sarah hosting, so it's always in safe hands.
That's my name.
yeah. Look, Mark and Johnny always do a good job, and
Yeah,
Pat's here, and they're three of the regulars that have always been around for our show, your show, and all the shows in our little group of community that our tribe. So in good hands, mate. So we were absolutely blessed to get on your boat and see what you do. And of course, you were in Club Lounge today, so we know exactly what your day's been like. So,
Mate, it's pretty far out, isn't it?
yeah,
It's been non-stop from start to finish today. It really has. I think this is the longest that my butt has actually been on a seat since I left the house this morning at like 9 a.m.
yeah.
So I feel so good right now.
You've got to thank Frankie and Rachel again for us, mate, because those two looked after us. So we were just, we were given the royal treatment. It was great.
Do you know what? I totally forgot that after you guys have proposed, I actually dragged Frankie into the clearing station to actually watch it. I was like, dude, you got to watch this. This is so cute. And then, like, for her, to see her and everything, it was a bit like, oh, yeah, God, I remember Frankie was there and watched the whole thing. So, Frankie's kind of part of the story as well.
Yeah, well, she said to, like, because we walked in, like we said it before, but we walked in and we went to say who we were. And she's like, I know who you are. Like, and of course, when we were leaving, she's gone, see you guys, you're my favorite celebrities.
Yeah. Well, what I done was I found like where you timestamped that Fader night the other night.
Yeah.
And I sent it to her to have a listen to as well. She named her at the end of it.
Yeah.
And she was just like, that is so cool. Nothing like that's ever happened to me before. Obviously, you've met Frankie, you know she doesn't really talk like that, but that's the best I can do under the circumstances. So
they were gorgeous. They were lovely, and they wouldn't let us pay for a thing, so we really got the family treatment, and that sort of is indicative of our experience with you guys, because you really are our family now, and you're stuck with us.
Yeah,
that's right. And you see me bum.
I seen a bit more than that, but anyway.
We saw mine because he was talking about his thong.
We said we wouldn't talk about that again.
Yeah, well.
Manchester's in Manchester, right?
Yeah.
Not always.
Yeah. No, well, we had a great time.
Dougie, stop it. Dougie's moving the table. He's decided that he's going to go for a scratch on the table.
I wondered what was going on.
Yeah. What did you get ear slapped, Dex?
No.
Yeah, I did. When I cuddled him, I got slapped around, but no.
Oh, but he does that with his ears.
Well, uniform, but better in costume.
John, my ears are pretty big too. You just can't see them with the hair. So
crazy.
That is a true story. Dex does have a pair, which is why I think he's got the hair to cover them. They're still surprisingly soft and nibbly.
Oh, so gonna miss cuddling and kissing you guys. We really are.
It's gonna be weird, isn't it? I mean, all those times that like you wanted to be Kate and I wanted to be Leo, and then you wanted to be the big spoon, and I wanted to be the little spoon, and
the one thing I really missed the opportunity of doing the Titanic with you on your boat. You know, like that scene where we both went like this. You know?
Because I'm sure you wouldn't have preferred to have done it with Lizzie. You're saying.
Well, we couldn't get on the front of the boat because we were upstairs. But no, I'm just joking.
Yeah, bad time. So, everything going all right? You guys got to crack on, or?
Yeah. Well, we've basically got to get up in 5 hours. So we were going to only do it. I think we were talking about doing an hour, but it's been 2 now. We just had to fit it all in, and.
Okay. But it was really, 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 really awesome to see you and finally get to be like here.
Yeah.
Say howdy and hi to everyone.
Been beautiful.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to love you and leave you. I'm going to get out of the way, and I'm going to leave my 2 babies to close the show as they started it and done everything else.
Good to see you.
And I'll speak to you soon. All right, guys.
All right, my brother. Yeah, crazy Uncle Dex, Mark.
Okay.
So thanks for having us on.
Yes. Thank you for coming on this evening. I know it was cutting it a bit short. Everything that's going on with you leaving tomorrow and on the next leg of your journey. And yeah, I can't thank you enough for coming on and actually spending more than 2 hours with us.
Oh,
it's been a pleasure.
You know, we talked about this when I was at Awakening with you, and you know, well, I mean, Lizzie's always there when I'm on, but I've been one of your regular guests, one of your first guests and one of your regular guests, and it's always been an honor and a blessing to have the chance to share with you and with the community that like to watch, and we'll do it again sometime soon. So I think for Halloween, my cousin Nick's going to look even better next year. So
I think it will.
All right, guys.
All
Thank
right,
you.
beautiful.
All right. Thank you, and have a safe journey
Thank
in the
you.
morning.
Au
And
revoir, amigos.
yeah, we'll speak to you when you're back in England, which will be not long now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So yes, I'll be able to message you on your phone again.
All right,
Make
guys.
sure it's
We love you.
charged.
We love you heaps.
Love you.
Love you
Au
too.
revoir.
Au revoir.
See you
Au revoir,
guys.
amigos.
Good
Thanks for
night.
watching, everyone.
Bye, guys.
You want me to hang up? Yep.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it. Get an early night. Bless ya.
Okay, everyone. So thank you so much for all watching our beautiful show. So tonight, our sponsors will
We'd like to shout
Oh,
out.
yes, shout out. Sorry.
So, Natasha, Mysterious Forces Live, Erik Stitt, Dave Partridge, Dave King, Brett Larson, Ray and Dennis from Six Sense Media, Kelly, C-Dubs, the new viewers, and all the viewers that actually watched Mika's new interview.
Thank
with
you so
Grant
much, everyone.
and Richard, that has had amazing love. Also to you, the audience, and most importantly as well to the mods that have helped out this evening as well. You've been absolutely awesome.
Now, there
so
was one
thank
thing
you.
that we did not do at the beginning of the show.
It's okay, darling. Now, next week we aren't actually going to be here. We're going to be up at Brands Hatch, but we are pre-recording a show in the week to release on Saturday night. And it's going to be with Joanne Summers. So that will be done throughout the week and we will release it on Saturday for you. So there will be a Saturday night show, although I don't know whether we'll be in the chat room. Jim may be. I may be driving home. So maybe one of us will be in the chat room, but there will be a chat room for you to still chat about, chat to each other, so forth. So it will still be there. Yeah, so that's what we've got for the moment too. So we would like to say a special thank you to all of you watching and hope you have a fabulous week, and we'll see you, well, not live next week, but
Next week after that.
we'll be live next week after that.
So thank you ever so much for watching, and thank you for taking a stroll down Fascination Street. Again, my name is Mika Pearson and Sarah Pearson, and somewhere downstairs is Jimmy Pearson. And then we've got our dog, Dougie Pearson. So like I said, thank you so much for watching, everyone. Thank you for all my views on my video, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks' time. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.